Welcome to our show.
Say, kids, what time is it?
The future is coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on.
A couple of things this week. We heard about this big gathering in Quantico, Virginia today with the president and Pete Hegseth. And
We very patiently sat through a lot of that drivel.
See, Mrs. Future had a really high opinion of the whole thing.
It was an hour of nothing. It was an hour of basic broken record. Blah, 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 blah. So.
And that's without looking at any of the headlines or any of the other media that's reporting on the issue right now.
Yeah, well, they got all of these military leaders together to welcome them to the Department of War. And they basically said that in the Department of War, we're not going to have any fat people. We're not going to have any beards.
Beardos.
No beardos, right.
Yeah, right.
And they're resetting the competency and fitness standards to what they were in the past, like in 1991, where they are for a certain size of man. At least the combat requirements require competence at a level that a physical man should be able to accomplish. But they don't want women, unless they're really beefy man-like women, to...
You sound kind of slighted by Pete's attitude on this.
No, it wasn't Pete's attitude. It was actually Trump, who I thought did a very poor job of saying anything new. It was embarrassing. It was scary, actually. I mean, for a president to be addressing the military and complimenting the police and the fire department in the same voice is somebody who is scarily unaware of the constitutional separations of power.
Well, yeah, except that in the general scheme of things, police, fire, military are in the same bucket. It's the human immune system. It's a friend or foe, protection from danger.
Well, yeah, but, with
issues,
Trump threatening to send the army to the American cities as if that's somehow constitutional, and then to act like he doesn't know the difference between the military branches of the federal government and the state branches of the police government.
Well, the distinction of exactly how it works has never been his strong card. He's always into changing the laws more in his favor.
You can't change the Constitution in that direction. I'm sorry. It doesn't work that way.
That's what you think.
I'm back.
Yeah.
What was your secret, Bobby? What did you have to do?
What was the problem?
I was between my Rodecaster to my Rodecaster video, and I lost the mic in the process. But
what's a show without technical glitches?
Yeah.
What's the lesson today, gang, about technical
I think
glitches?
the lesson is persevere. Just persevere. Just have fortitude, get through it, and do what's right. Anyway, I wasn't so offended by the resetting of the military standards of performance because I've always felt like it was ridiculous to act like there was no difference between men and women. That particular aspect of modern culture. I don't think recognizing the fact that people have different erotic preferences and that we should allow adults to express themselves freely in relationships with adults is in the same league as women should be in the locker room with men, or that there's no difference between the sexes or the genders or anything like that. I think erotic preference is very different than physical
Why would I argue with
specifications.
Why would I argue with you about that?
Why would you?
What's your point here on this?
Well, my point is that the things that Pete Hegseth was saying was about turning the Defense Department into the War Department, and very much gung-ho, we have to be prepared to fight because we have enemies out there such as China.
Yeah. China and Russia.
Yeah, his orientation was very much a soldier-to-soldier engagement, whereas Trump's organization very much was kind of a follow-on Me Too and saying a lot of inappropriate things.
Well, he just rambled on for...
And he rambled on
topics,
for...
right?
Yeah, the broken record happened for like at least an hour longer than it needed
Yeah,
to.
because it's all the issues he always talks about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was hoping for something unique. I was hoping like maybe they were going to finally reveal the alien presence or something interesting.
Turns out they think that the alien is just the DEI people in the military.
The DEI, yes. They're too close to them.
Yeah.
the aliens and the DEIs.
Yeah. Well, they basically indicated that they've been clearing the military of that whole branch of all the leaders who embraced that edict. And now they're back to what they think of as a merit-based system where people have to pass physical tests twice a year to prove that they can do the military standard of fitness. They have to be ready.
Have to know how to integrate all their new tools that they're being given. What's interesting there is that bringing in the humanoid robots, super soldier concepts come to mind. How do you create a synergy between human soldiers and robotic soldiers? What does that look like in terms of warfare? That's one of the things they think about.
Well, on behalf of those of us who believe in the golden age of peace,
you don't even think about it.
no, it's not that I don't want to think about it. It's that I don't mind if you experiment with this stuff in VR, but I am so tired of conversation where we are not focused on the good of humanity and we are not focused on the good of life and we are only focused on creating machines that give us more domination. Like, I'm just offended by the set of values that is giving rise to the whole conversation.
Well, you justifiably get upset that people are that way. But
no, what is honor among robots, Al? What is honor among robots?
Whatever they're programmed to believe in, or until they develop their own sensibilities, which will eventually happen. Meanwhile, I think that it's a friend or foe thing. I think it's an immune system response, and you think of biological metaphors. Don't think of it as necessarily a bad thing. Pete Hegseth is kind of a clear-cut friend or foe guy. He's not someone that's really good at the gray areas.
Yeah, the whole administration is very polarizing right now.
That's why he's not into politics per se, and he'd probably fall out really fast if it wasn't for Trump supporting him. You got to consider that he's perfect for the moment, for this particular point in time. He's creating a shift that is probably necessary for all of us, even though it seems
it's been a long conversation about going from the unipolar world since we supposedly won the Cold War and Russia imploded to the multipolar world where we're looking for a globe that has regional sovereignty.
You can define it that way. And we are moving towards a species identity, and the whole thing is going beyond nation states ultimately. So this is a transitional period in terms of a bigger movie that's unfolding. I thought it was very interesting about how the United Nations was in the news again last week. And the UN for a long time has been very dysfunctional in terms of really reflecting the sensibilities of humanity as a whole.
Since we were there in the 90s.
It's been
it seemed like it was full of big fatties, that professional do-nothings.
So the whole system is really in a state of change. Right now, it's like the imaginal cells get to go to work right now as everything becomes more fluid. So we're going through this period of transition where it's a foggy area. It's between worlds. It's kind of like if you go in a microscope and you're zooming down into other levels of the universe from a macro perspective like our eyes have, to beginning to look at a fine print and detail, to beginning to look at the fiber in the paper, to beginning to look at the chemistry, the molecules. In between each of these realms, it's kind of fuzzy. And we're kind of into that now before it focuses into a new way in which everything is
Makes
perceived.
sense again.
But right now, if you try to judge it for what it is, find something wrong with it, you're probably going to be wrong. It's a bigger process.
I'm used to being wrong. I do seem very good with my wing. My devil's advocate wing is pretty much, I have empathy for all sides of every argument.
And for somebody who also enjoys a dissolve to evolve kind of idea. I thought this piece this week on actually vaporizing everything.
Could we do that after we do a little Santa Cruz voice promo?
Okay. One more thing before we do the promo, though. Bobby, how's the weather in San Francisco?
Well, peering through the clouds and yesterday.
Okay.
So
foggy, right?
Up here. Yeah. That was kind of crazy.
So it's a foggy day in the Bay Area, and it was at the Maker Faire, which we want to talk about a little bit after the break, too. Now, that's an incredible gathering of people, I tell you.
Indeed. All right. So you think you're ready to go?
Okay, let's go to the break.
All right. Little Santa Cruz voice. We love you. Here you go.
It's high time to celebrate the opening of the new Hook Outlet Dispensary, 1129 Mission in Santa Cruz. Get in on the opening fun and really low prices on the Hook's unmatched selection of top-quality medical and recreational cannabis flower, vapes, drinks, gummies, and concentrates. The Hook Outlet is now the West Side's source for finest cannabis at the lowest prices. Get in on all the opening fun and low prices at the all-new Hook Outlet. HookOutlet.com for details and deals.
If you're between the ages of 49 and 63 and can't go back to your job because of a physical or mental disability, Social Security could pay you as much as $3,800 a month. Call the Social Security Disability Helpline. Our team will give you a free case review and explain to you how much money you're entitled to. And you won't pay anything unless we get you benefits. Call now.
800-610-7840. That's 800-610-7840.
You can help build one of America's first full-service local news and talk streaming radio stations, SantaCruzVoice.com. You can help the Voice team build a streaming radio infrastructure of hardware, software, and connectivity by donating your time and or money. Your donations will result in a radio station that everyone will enjoy and that you can truly be proud of. Please go to SantaCruzVoice.com and click support. SantaCruzVoice.com, and thank you.
You need a clean, pleasant space to conduct business, but you don't want the burden of a long, expensive lease. Your solution is Satellite Co-working and Digital Media Studio on Soquel Avenue. Satellite offers private offices, meeting and conference rooms, even co-working by the hour, day, week, or month. Schedule a tour at satellitecoworking.com. Mention Santa Cruz Voice for 20% off your first reservation.
The future.
Welcome back, everybody. This
What
is
time
really,
is it?
this is such a randomizer day. We're not starting again, but there was a mass exodus and then a reconvening here at the mic.
So we're really all back again.
Yes, indeed, we are.
And I tell you, it was really interesting outside right now, too, because it's kind of a mottled checkerboard day where it's mostly cloudy and then the sun comes through and it feels so good as it hits your skin.
Yeah.
So bright and warm, and then suddenly cold again. Magical, really.
Nice.
A couple of things. Let's do this individual story, then we'll talk a little bit about the Maker Faire. One of the big problems that we have in low Earth orbit is that there's an accumulation of dead satellites and other type of space debris that's collecting by the tens of thousands of pieces, and it's getting worse all the time. So one of the big issues is how to clean up that mess. It's like cleaning up our oceans in a way. You know, it's the atmosphere around the
Well, I
upper
think we
part of the
feel a
atmosphere
little more
around the planet.
vulnerable to it because even though the ocean takes up 3/4 of the planet, the things floating along the surface of the ocean don't really seem to present a planetary threat if there's some kind of collision of debris on the surface of the ocean. But if there's a collision of debris in the low Earth orbit
Nasty
because
stuff,
of
yeah.
satellite garbage that's up there, and these things crash into each other and they're going so fast. They're 17,000 plus miles per
It's
hour.
like getting hit by a bullet.
Yeah, and therefore the effect that can happen is that the debris can crash into other debris and can spread out and can just create havoc for everything that's flying on that altitude.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then that can take out satellites and can also rain down as very dangerous debris.
So, in a pioneering step towards cleaning this up, researchers at Tohoku University, Tohoku, in Japan, have this new system. Essentially, it's a non-contact method to deal with space junk.
Non-contact, like nobody has to touch it.
Well, the idea is they have this new propulsion system. It can be used for spacecraft. They can propulse out. It uses a technology known as bidirectional plasma ejection. Electrodeless plasma
So
thruster.
it spews some gas out of both sides of the rocket,
Yeah, think of it as like a rocket engine, two engines
that cancels itself.
Yeah, and they cancel. Yeah, one goes in one direction, one in the other. And
There used to be this animal in Dr. Dolittle called the push me pull you. This is kind of like putting them on opposite sides and making them push into each other.
Well, yeah. Otherwise, you'd move like crazy. You'd be a little rocket thruster, and you'd, go away. But if this way, it cancels it out, and you can keep the rocket thrust on the space junk, and it'll just burn it up or push it out of orbit into the direction that will burn up.
Right.
as it
So it'll
comes down
either
through the atmosphere.
incinerate it or move it.
Yeah, exactly. And if you have it properly programmed, you can shoot the thrust just in the right place for it to be scooted off to where it needs to go to destroy itself. That's the plasma injection technology. 2 plasma streams simultaneously that can get rid of space debris.
That's a funny idea. And they're calling it a ray gun, right? It's a plasma gun. So as this satellite is orbiting the Earth and it comes across some space debris in front of it, it like turns on the dissolver in front of it, and then it crashes through it by turning on the plasma injection in the back.
Yeah, pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
And they figured out that they can use argon as the propellant, and it's a very cheap and abundant compared to other types of propellants they've been using. They can play with what they call the magnetic field, the cusp magnetic field, to enhance its performance, the cusp of the field around the plasma stream. So the bottom line is that using these types of techniques, they triple the deceleration force that they ever achieved with other types of propellants. There's 14,000 pieces of junk they're targeting that are in low Earth orbit. 14,000 pieces that they think they could get rid of right away. So what could happen that would be wrong there? How would you prevent the Kessler syndrome? What if you made a mistake and you sent a piece of garbage in to hit some other garbage, and it was like a pool break and it started knocking all kinds of things out of orbit and create a Kessler effect?
Yeah.
That would not be fun.
You got to be careful when you're using your ray gun in low Earth orbit.
Yeah. For space sustainability, we need such technologies. We need to be able to keep our upper atmosphere, our orbital space clear.
Now, I don't understand. Argon is a noble gas, right? So all this really is going to be able to do, it's kind of like a blower. It's like a leaf blower, right?
That burns things up. Yeah, burn up your leaves.
How does it burn things up, though? I mean, the only way it can burn things up is if it accelerates them into the atmosphere so that they burn in the atmosphere, right? It's not going to burn them.
Well, a plasma thrust. What's the nature of a plasma thrust?
Well, but it's an argon.
Bobby, what'd you say?
Is it a flamethrower?
No, but there's no fuel. Think about argon. Argon is a noble gas.
Yeah.
It's not going to burn anything. All it's going to do is accelerate things.
When you get a plasma, it ionizes, so you just have the nucleus of argon shooting toward it.
Okay, so you think that it can somehow create an incineration, huh?
Yeah, it has a nuclear reaction toward things when you just have an ionized gas, argon.
Right. Low Earth orbit is about 100 miles up. So
That's
there's
an
no
arrangement.
air there. There's nothing to burn. The only way something's going to burn is if it goes down to the atmosphere.
Well, think of it as those balls where you...
Oh, yeah, you plasma balls where you touch them and the little plasma electrodes go to your fingers.
Argon plasma torch cutters.
So there you have plasma. So I'm not sure electron that's been burned off, or is it nuclear parts of the gas that's in there? So maybe it's a stream of beta particles.
Yeah. Well, I
up.
think we still have a lot to learn about how it actually does this stuff. It seems like what it can do is it can affect the trajectory of these things so that they don't have to run into each other and they don't have to turn into incinerated particles moving off in every direction.
According to Grok, it can cause thermal damage to whatever it's burning. You know, whatever's in the thrust.
Oh, so it can.
The plasma plume is thousands of degrees Kelvin.
Okay.
So it can create
So it'll melt it.
Heat on contact.
Right.
Melt
so even
it.
though there's no air, it can still melt
It
it.
can melt things. It can vaporize. It can crack things, thermally crack things.
All right.
Have you heard of these plasma welders?
Yes, exactly.
So I suspect it's something in that nature.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. Super hot. It causes melting. It can cause phase changes in materials. It can vaporize things. In other words, it can cause things to expand and crack things, like metals and ceramics. It could pit things, ablate them in various ways. So yeah, and it can move whatever object it's hitting into a different orbit. An orbit where if it's a larger structure, can be disintegrated by falling through the atmosphere like a meteorite. And I think there's an area over the South Pacific where you're supposed to deorbit your satellites. It's like a junkyard.
Part of your license agreement. You
Yeah.
got to know how, if you're going to send them
There's
up,
no-
you got to know how they're coming down.
Yeah, the new sats have to have ways in which they can get rid of their satellite. It's a breakthrough tech that looks like we can start cleaning up for the upper atmosphere, or low Earth orbit, before it gets too dirty. Which is probably a good place to start. If we had started that with the planet earlier, we probably have less problems. We were at the Maker Faire this weekend, and we saw a lot of strange things. We didn't see a plasma thruster, but we did see the creativity and the ingenuity of the Bay Area makers, for all the people that like to make things. We saw Dan Kotke, for example, our friend, known for being best friends with Steve Jobs, going to India with him in the early days before Apple, one of the first Apple employees. He actually resurrected an Apple I computer at the Maker Faire. And he had it on a screen, and he had it doing ASCII pictures. And he had a 300 baud modem. I believe it was connected to an AI. So he had an AI access through low bandwidth, low baud rate, which was like a teletext. It was pretty cool. And while we were there, we met a guy named Travis who does all the video for a group called Crunch Labs.
Yeah, who we love.
Yeah.
We get all their monthly kits.
Mark Rober, who got famous. First time I really on my radar was when he was doing all those fun Olympics with his backyard squirrels, where he was having them shimmy poles and solve riddles and
Right.
puzzles
Yeah,
and
our
everything.
favorite, his Squirrel Olympics. And it turns out that Travis was his squirrel videographer while he was doing all that research.
Yeah. So that was our big connection at the festival. We also met a kid from India who was studying robotics here in
Yeah,
Silicon
he was
Valley.
working for a drone company, the same drone company that sends drone drugs around in Africa. They've been around from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name off the top of my head.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, meeting the technoids that love the Maker Faire.
And probably one of the more unusual items was a inflatable, a large inflatable. It's like a space habitat almost, where it's like must be a dozen or so different rooms in
Yeah,
this
this was a
inflatable.
very, very satisfying art project called the Illuminarium. The Illuminarium was put together by a man who calls himself an air architect. He had designed this wonderful cavernous space and had lit it up with a very satisfying bright light colors on each of the different pods, and they were connected through these round doors, and
Take
you
your
really
shoes off to go in.
it reminded me of a VR experience that we had years ago called Blurtasia, where you just felt yourself flying through these different brightly colored blobs.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, but it did smell very plasticky because it was made of plastic.
Yeah, so it was a pretty imaginative space, and it was really fun to bounce around. The kids just were really having fun bouncing off the walls there. I like the fact that it was right on the docks in Mare Island, and there are some old ships there that go back to the 1890s, sailing ships and metal ships combined. I didn't realize that at that point in time, in the 1860s to the turn of the century, that a lot of the metal ships had giant sails as well. So they could utilize both the new motors, the steam-powered and coal-powered systems, along with the sails, which I guess saved a lot in terms of fuel. And a lot of the exhibits for the Maker Faire were in these giant sheds. They called them the coal sheds. They
Yeah,
stored
I mean,
coal.
here we were in basically an 1860s factory for the shipyards. And the things they did there is they moved cargo around. They probably fixed some of the ships. They put a lot of machines. It felt almost like being at the Guinness factory in Ireland. It was these big brick buildings.
Yeah.
So
And it's a big community. And I'll tell you, it was a lot of kids there,
yeah, it has
Huge.
really focused on kids now.
more so than in the past.
Yeah, more
I've
so.
seen.
Although lots of burner exhibits, lots of burner
Yeah.
art there,
That's true. And a lot of lighting, a lot of special effects.
and
lighting.
art cars.
There was that strange machine that supposedly was from the 1930s that they resurrected that allows you to see sine waves
Yeah.
Supposed to be a whole frequency realm where it opens up an interdimensional portal to other worlds.
Yeah.
They had unearthed it and they had it on display there where you could experience it.
Before anybody had put Carillion photography together or had set up any kind of electromagnetic light shows or anything like that, in the 30s, there was this mystic scientist who was trying to read your plasma field.
That's right. They had a whole thing on his stuff there.
Yeah.
Graphic.
Camera obscura.
Yeah, camera obscura stuff, all kinds of interesting, strange, including biofeedback equipment and the cellular resonance machine. Science, art, and scandal in the 1930s. Fascinating story, I tell you.
Cellular Resonance Machine Number 2 pulsed like a living heart. Jordan Sinclair Everington's hand-wired him to pain. Hand-soldered coils of copper, quartz crystals cut to Earth's own breathing rate, all fed by scavenged tubes that glowed violet when switched on. It didn't zap or burn. It sang, low and steady, slipping frequencies under skin until arthritic joints forgot the weather, forgot the grind, and remembered ease.
Japan's first successful mission to Venus has been up there 8 years, and they're about to say goodbye because they lost contact and they can't reestablish it. The Akatsuki Venus orbiter that completes its mission.
It mapped clouds, detected lightning, it looked at the atmosphere of Venus in detail. One of the unique things they found was that there were large underground caverns.
No taverns, caverns.
Delicious sulfuric acid.
Venusian beer,
yes.
yeah.
So their spacecraft lasted a long time, long past its design lifetime, 8 years, which it operated. It also was able to detect this largest stationary gravity wave in the solar system, which helped prove Einstein was right. And there's weird atmosphere stuff. I mean, they have high-speed circulation patterns on Venus that you wouldn't believe. It was able to apply what we know about meteorological techniques on Earth and apply it to this weird atmosphere of Venus, which is much thicker and made of stranger things than ours.
The atmosphere of the planet Venus is incredibly dense and thick. It's primarily composed of carbon dioxide with clouds of sulfuric acid, making it a pretty harsh environment. The surface pressure is about 92 times that of Earth, so standing on Venus would feel like being a kilometer under the ocean. All that results in a super hot, high-pressure atmosphere with a runaway greenhouse effect, making Venus the hottest planet in our solar system.
Not the friendliest for us. The Akatsuki Venus orbiter has completed its mission and is now dead. Yeah, I wonder if they're going to kick it into Venus, burn it up. That would be appropriate ending for it, eh?
I don't know. They didn't really say, huh?
No, they didn't know.
No, they just said that they can't reestablish contact, so they're saying goodbye because they can't. We would like to express our deepest gratitude to all the organizations and individuals who have cooperated and supported the development and operation of Akatsuki from JAXA.
There was a 600 million year old sea creature that seems to embrace immortality and that we might be able to steal it from them. Studying an seemingly immortal species, it teaches how to slow down or even reverse the aging process. Yeah, the sea creature is found along the coasts of the U.S. and Britain.
It's a hydra.
Nematocella vectorisus. Nematode, like Nematostella. Yeah.
Sort of looks like it's made of plastic.
Yeah.
It must glow at night, too.
It kind of looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's a kind of a sea anemone, very small, and it has regenerative powers where it can regenerate entire body parts.
You know, lobsters can do this, too. There's certain kinds of lobsters that can grow limbs. They're immortal also. We're talking hundreds of years old, some of these lobsters. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't realize that, Bob. So I could be eating an ancient lobster and not even know.
Well, I'll tell you, I think about what's so interesting about this is that by studying it, the geneticists have learned something about stem cells because they're combining the ability of this organism's ability to perfectly regenerate its own genesis cells so it can duplicate new cells. And they're combining that with introducing mutations through CRISPR-Cas9. They're studying this organism in order to understand how it can help us to generate specialized cells.
Yes, if we can isolate the mechanism, we could have this regenerative capacity introduced into other species like ours.
Right. So that's what this is all about.
It looks like it's using stem cells. So I guess they're going to transfer some of the genes from this organism into our stem cells?
No, they're doing research on how to get the pluripotent stem cells to express specific tissues. And so what they've learned here is that these animals that can live forever by constantly regenerating new cells and replacing all their cells, they are able to generate specific kinds of cells like neurons or things like that we don't know how to generate specific kinds of cells
whatever they need, right?
Yeah.
And what's interesting also is that they can reproduce sexually and asexually.
Right. That's part of it too, right?
The asexual reproduction allows them to be raised in labs, so it allows our researchers a practical organism to study in regenerative biology. They're willing to show us their secrets. So should we reproduce asexually too?
Well, what a concept. Let's talk about it.
Parthenogenesis, I guess. Would be one of that. Well, you should do both. Right? Maybe that's the direction we're going and why there's such confusion around sexuality these days, because we're getting more options.
Right.
Biologically.
Yeah, well, we are definitely getting help in understanding how the science works.
Okay, well, stay yourself.
All right, we'll be right back. And we're back.
We're live. Yeah, what's happening in Hawaii? Why are you leaving us?
Rick Lukens has his place open for a month. He usually rents it out the rest of the year.
You're going to be staying at Rick Lukens' place?
Yeah, so he invited people that are working on this Buckminster Fuller avatar
project,
AI. Sasha's coming in. Well, we're flying in tomorrow, and then Sasha's coming in on Thursday, the next day. Yeah, so it's going to be really interesting there.
Yeah, it's going to be, she's one of the programmers.
Yeah. Katya's lined up a whole bunch of surf, not schools, but anyway, she's going to rent a surfboard to maybe Waikiki, but there's some other beaches that are less crowded.
Yeah, well, that's a good island for surfing, for sure.
Yeah.
Figuring out how to resurrect Bucky, that should be a fun project.
Yes. Well, it's not just that. We're talking about a mentor that you probably want to raise your children, and you wouldn't probably have to go to school because these AIs could know more about you and knows more about what you need to know next to learn in life.
Yeah.
It's like having Socrates or Plato as your mentor.
Well, the idea is that they would tune into how you learn and how you think and what your capabilities and limitations are, and then give you the information in a way so that you have maximum absorption and understanding and comprehension and all that good stuff.
Yes.
So each person ultimately will get their own Bucky, if you will, who teaches in a way that they understand, like use the visuals or use the sound or whatever is how you learn. Personalized education, personalized medicine, it's all getting very personal.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
The idea is trying to get it to run locally or on the edge where AI is run locally. And obviously, the more compute you give it, the more powerful it is in preventing other AIs from influencing your AI. I mean, the big thing is when you use, let's say, Google's AI, Gemini.
Gemini, yeah.
Eventually, just like they did with your emails, they'll start to look at what information you have on this person.
Yes.
And will start sending ads to it. So that could influence, let's say, your child, like what toys to buy and things like that. So it's important to have your own personal AI that is more powerful than the bigger AIs out there and can put a shield up of information and how it influences your AI.
How it protects you from
yes.
big bad universe.
And your children, yes.
Yeah, well, we do need an immune system to keep us healthy.
Yeah, there's some interesting projects out there. Mustak, he has a very long Indian last name. He's developing some similar type of AI that I'm very interested in. And also a new economy where the economy is not based on profit like the way the dollar, the fiat dollar is based on. It's based on an economy where you learn and actually help the planet and help other people. You gain credits, and these would be crypto credits. And that would be the basis of the economy as opposed to wealth, accumulation of dollars or gold or silver or something like that.
Well, as with all things crypto, the money you get is only as good as the money you can spend. And so the fact that people are creating their own economy is when the world organizations that generate money try to figure out how to accommodate more people. Different people become the source of generating money. And so we've got the central bank is generating fiat currency for US dollars. And before that, we had all of the international banking system agreement using gold as their approved currency system. And when people felt like there wasn't enough liquidity, you had new inventions that facilitated more transactions. So banks were able to come up with more liquidity by, for instance, coming up with checks so that their customers could deposit money like gold safely in their account and then use checks to spend money other places. And that increased the money supply because every transaction creates more money in circulation. Now, when everybody who can generate a cryptocurrency comes up with their own token as a part of the economy, those tokens are coins in a larger world of transactions. But those coins can't buy everything that is available in the world. They can only buy the things that those tokens are useful for.
That's good.
Yeah.
What do you think of the digital ID plans for Britain? You think that's the digital ID, is that going to work with this new system, or is that just another way of controlling the people?
It's definitely controlling the people.
Yeah, Catherine Austin Fitts says that the reason why the globalists in the world 200 years ago had to let go of slavery during the Civil War is because they couldn't perfect the collateral. And so treating people like something you owned wasn't something that had good long-term storage value because people could escape, because people could be killed, because as property you couldn't necessarily prove you own them. If there was issues with the collateral, the ID system is something that basically can be used to make sure that no individual is actually free of their owners and that whoever is issuing the digital ID system is their owner. And that's how Catherine Austin Fitts views the individual profile system.
Looks like a few million people have signed a petition demanding the UK stop this. Let's see, here's a news clip. Let me just play 1 minute of this here.
More than 2.4 million people have signed an online petition demanding that the UK government immediately commits to not introducing digital ID cards. Petition creator Maxim Sutcliffe argues that introducing digital ID cards would be a step towards mass surveillance and digital control, and no one should be forced to register with a state-controlled ID system. Sir Keir Starmer announced last week that the UK government would introduce a new ID system by 2029 that would be mandatory for people working in the UK. The Do Not Introduce Digital ID Cards petition is now entitled to a written response from the UK government and is currently being considered by the Petitions Committee for debate in Parliament. Labour backbencher Bel Ribeiro Andy said the petition shows people do not understand the purpose of this move. But the Prime Minister said he was absolutely convinced that one of the reasons migrants travelled through France to reach the UK was that it was easier to work illegally here than in other countries.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah. The rhetoric around the digital ID system is that for efficiency in distributing resources, we need every individual to be identifiable, right? But as soon as the state can use your digital ID and attach it to a profile about whether or not you are in conformance with the state's standards of behavior, and then can deny you things that you might freely choose for yourself, and you don't have any influence on whether that's allowed or not. You just have to follow your orders. That's the problem. It denies the sovereignty of our individual freedom to engage in things that we should be able to engage in, like the ability to freely transact, and the ability to breathe, and the ability to support ourselves, and the ability to gift things to whoever we want. It shouldn't go through an outside ownership state that is telling us and dictating to us what we can and can't do.
No, it shouldn't.
Yeah, you should take a look at what happened in Vietnam recently, where they had the digital ID requirements for all its citizens.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was 86 million bank accounts were frozen. 86 million bank accounts, because they were saying if you don't comply, you have no access to your bank.
This is what makes it the Antichrist. This is the reason why the mark of the beast has been objectionable to people who say that we're entering these times of challenges to our freedom.
This is a great little clip that talks about the downside of it. It's about 40 seconds.
Can I see your BRIC card, please?
I don't have one. I don't have a smartphone.
Yep, she doesn't get picked up on the bus.
Can I get another pint, please?
Bellhop.
Sorry, sir. Your BRIC card says you've exceeded your alcohol quota for this week.
Sorry, sir. Your BRIC card says you've already flown twice this year. We're having to restrict passengers with higher than average emissions profiles.
Sorry, I'm afraid your funds have been temporarily frozen. Your recent social media post did not align with the government's narrative.
Sorry, I'm afraid your BRIC card says you cannot purchase any more meat this week as part of our commitment to achieving net zero.
I've just logged in using my BRIC card and it's saying I've already had 3 hours of internet today and it's locked me out.
There you go. There's some of the potential downsides of having a digital ID, national digital ID card.
But it does come down to the fundamental conversation about how free are you to be yourself, and how much do you have to bow to the will of these powerful entities that are not accountable to you individually. There's different ways of enforcing slavery besides just violence, and one of them is denial of access.
Mm-hmm. And at the same time, if we are indeed moving towards a new order of our species, where we're connecting as some kind of superorganism, then deeper communications between all of us seems to be absolutely necessary. It's like in your body, your heart and your liver need to communicate with each other in order to work together.
Yeah, but I don't think every single one of your cells has an ID. I mean, it has an identity.
They do. They have a DNA ID.
But it's a behavioral ID. They do what they are designed to do, but the heart isn't telling a nerve cell to act like a nerve cell.
No, of course not. No, everyone knows their place. Unlike humans, another level of complexity where we don't quite know who we are even.
Yeah.
That adds a level of complexity to the system.
Well, it's like, at what level are we free, and at what level are we in alignment with forces that are greater than ourselves?
Well, we had certainty we were male and female for a while, and then we had certainty we were Americans or Canadians for a while. But those boundaries start to evolve as well. Mm-hmm. That's the thing, is that the boundaries are shifting now, and what are the new ones?
Sure. Yeah, and freedom basically means that you have the ability to shift yourself according to how you want to fit in.
Just shift yourself, will you? The sun fires an energy blast straight at the mysterious interstellar object cruising through our solar system. This was the 3I Atlas, which is about to go by the orbit of Mars.
It's already behind. Visibly, we can't see it now because it's behind the sun.
Yeah, we can't see it from Earth, but our Martian assets are able to see it.
Yeah.
And we have several Martian assets that are really ready to go on this.
They're going to do their best, but they're used to looking at things on the surface of Mars, and they're just overhead, and this thing is going to be 18 million miles away from them.
Well, it's going to be a little bit further. That's true.
Uh-huh.
First of all, let's look at the solar blast that went by.
Okay.
we saw a solar blast hit a comet about 2017, and it caused the tail to disconnect. The coronal mass ejection from the sun swept away the comet's ion tail.
And so the explanation here is that when a comet is getting warmed up as it gets closer to the sun, the ice and minerals are melting and the tail is being spread out by the solar wind and the fact that the comet is in motion. And so when there's a coronal mass ejection that blasts the comet, it puts out the signature of the comet because it affects the tail in such a way that maybe it disconnects the tail or maybe it incinerates the tail or
causes some change to it.
Yeah.
That's right. And it might actually cause it to more melt. There's also this thing called the coma compression. That's what's in front of the comet, is the field, the energetics of the front of the comet. That can get compressed as well. So we saw that. We saw the tail disconnect in a comet back in 2017. However, we recently had a blast hit this comet, and our instruments were watching. And you know what happened?
No.
Nothing.
The comet didn't notice the CME.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how far out is it? It's like 2.5 astronomical units
near Mars.
still, right?
It's not near Mars. Yeah.
It's out near Mars.
I mean, nothing we could see. Anything. That doesn't mean there was nothing there. It just means there's nothing that we could see.
Okay. So
And
as of September 25th, when the CME hit, no visible effect.
Yeah. So why is it that we saw a comet when it was hit, back in 2017 and it lost its tail, even though it was just for a short period of time before it reformed?
Something very different about this
This
comet.
time, this one is blasted and nothing happens. Well, that's not nothing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Abby Loeb.
But the thing is that we can speculate a lot, but as Abby Loeb says, we're making a lot of assumptions based on one pixel of data. And
Well, no. We
we're
have more
talking
than
about
that.
how bright it is. We're talking about what
You're talking
color
about
it is.
one
We're talking
pixel.
about how fast it's moving.
You're talking about one pixel data from the assets on Mars, which are designed to look at the Martian surface, not to look up in the sky. Right? But they're going to be aiming the Martian surface cameras up at the sky, as well as the Mars orbiter, which will actually have more than a pixel of data. However, the Martian assets are just part of the picture. There's a lot of other assets being deployed.
But Al, you know how cameras are.
No, I
mean,
know, but
when
there's a
you
lot
point
of
your
cameras.
telescope at something that's 1,000,000 miles away, it's very small.
Well, for the ones on the surface of
I
the
mean,
planet.
think about Jupiter, right? You look at Jupiter.
But there's
it's tiny.
They believe
but
that
they
the
said about the Mars high-rise
camera on the orbiter.
camera, it's able to detect a 3-meter object. So it's a pretty good camera.
But does that mean 3-meter object per pixel at the distance of the
Yes.
Mars orbiter to the surface of Mars?
So its closest approach will be October 3rd.
Yeah, it's going to be 18 million miles from that orbiter.
But they said that they could see some definition that is 3 meters wide.
That's right. It's not on the surface of Mars. It's in the orbit of Mars. It's a better telescope. We get data from Hubble and also from the James Webb telescope that are way more than a pixel. And they're giving us a combination of data that on the October 3rd, combined with the Martian data, we should be able to ascertain how big the diameter of the comet is.
When does it come into view again after being hidden by the sun? Do we know that?
They're saying December, like the month of November. Actually, it's not hiding behind the sun. We are.
Yeah, we
hiding
are. No, I understand that we have gone on the opposite
Around.
side of the sun from Mars, and it's going towards Mars. And this is the week where it disappears from our view, and we hand it off to where we can only see it through our Martian and Jupiterian cameras.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Right.
Think of it this way. This object is coming straight through our solar system, and it's like all other comets, they have a parabolic trajectory. They actually circumvent the sun. Well, this object is hyperbolic, means that the ends are open. It does a kind of a glance curve around the sun while we're going around the sun in a circle.
Yeah.
And we're both going in the same direction around the sun, but it's on the opposite side.
Yeah, so we can't see it through the sun. Right.
And so next month, we will get closer to it when it comes back
Late November.
when we're both
Late
on the
November.
other side of the sun.
It reappears in the morning sky, pre-dawn, eastern horizon. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, but right now you can't see it from October through mid-November.
Okay.
Yeah. So it starts to reappear, and then we'll be able to see what's going on there now from Earth-based telescopes.
Right. The Mars telescopes will see what's happening while we can't see it.
That's right. Yeah, it should be quite interesting.
Yeah.
Now, there's some other things that are going on with this that Avi Loeb has pointed out beyond the physics of it and the science of it.
Do you want to give us a Santa Cruz voice break before you go into that?
I do, yeah. There are a lot of different groups that are paying attention to this besides the Key Space Telescopes and the Mars assets.
Right. Juno. The Jupiter.
The Jupiter, right. That's also physical information.
That one is the closest approach of all the planets.
And will give us a whole bunch of great data. And then there's the whole story about the WOW signal.
The WOW signal. All right, so stay tuned. We're just going to take a couple minutes for our local friends at Santa Cruz Voice and people who love them, and then we'll be right back.
You have to move now. No problem. Store your stuff at Anbar Self-Storage and U-Haul. Easy off Highway 1 on Airport Boulevard by the airport. 24/7 security. Drive it to your door and store it at Anbar Self-Storage and U-Haul in Freedom.
You sold your motorcycle to a friend in Fresno and need to deliver it. Well, Anbar Self-Storage and U-Haul in Freedom has motorcycle and car trailers ready to go. Easy off Highway 1 on Airport Boulevard by the airport. Anbar Self-Storage and U-Haul in Freedom.
Back in the 16th century, a famous prophet and psychic, Nostradamus, predicted great disasters. Hundreds of years later, believe it or not, a lot of his predictions have come true. Today, we have another psychic and prophet among us. His name is Nostradamus. His great ability to predict when home repairs, primarily a roof, will become a much-needed thing is truly remarkable. His predictions have been renowned and recorded for many years now. Yes, Nostradamus can be found a key owner at Knox Roofing, and he can give you accurate advice on when your roof will leak. His ability to see your home completed with only the best products and services is truly amazing. If you need a sitting with Nostradamus, all you need to do is call 461-0634, and you can receive a free reading of your home's life and its life-changing events about to occur. Okay, thanks, folks.
Cannabis is one of nature's most beneficial plants. Hello, I'm Jenna. Treehouse Dispensary, we use information about cannabis to build community. Listen to Xavier.
Thank you, Jenna. For those suffering joint pain, Treehouse suggests trying a CBD THC topical like the Balance Salve from local Santa Cruz company, Jade Nectar. Then enjoy the relief.
For answers to your cannabis questions, ask your friends at Treehouse Dispensary, 3651 Soquel Drive in Soquel, or ourtreehouse.io.
And welcome back to the show. Yes, we were talking about 3i Atlas, and we had been talking about some of the assets that we have that are going to be looking at it as it goes by the Martian orbit. October 3rd, we have the Perseverance and Curiosity rovers on the surface. We have the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. We have the Mars Express from the European Space Agency, which will use a stereo high-resolution camera and spectrometers to study it. And the Russians, combined with the European Space Agency, have a gas orbiter that's looking for gas. I don't know if they'll find anything. I don't know if they'll be close enough for that, but who knows?
Well, what we know is it's moving faster, and it's brighter, and it's more massive than any of the other interstellar objects that we've observed.
We also have SOHO, the Solar Heliospheric Observatory. It'll come into view. And hopefully, they'll be able to look at how solar impacts affect the comet as it gets closer to the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have the Parker probe, the Parker Solar Probe.
Okay, so we're going to have quite a constellation of data about this time in March.
And don't forget PUNCH, the polarimeter to unify the corona and heliosphere from NASA. Yes. Also imaging the comet's trajectory.
Yes. And also, may as well look forward. By 2029, the European Space Agency is going to launch a comet observatory apparatus that they're working on now that will specifically be parked in our upper atmosphere so that it can respond quickly and go investigate any new comets that we discover.
Well, that'd be fun.
Yeah, 2029.
Fun, and hopefully asteroids too, which might hit the Earth.
Yeah.
The other interesting story on this was from Avi Loeb this week, the Harvard astronomer who's been thinking that this is anomalous and then there might be something more going on here than just a comet, that there might be some intelligence behind it.
Mm-hmm.
In this respect, he did a very interesting piece about the WOW signal. Now, the WOW signal was a strong narrowband radio signal that was detected in 1977 during a search for extraterrestrial intelligence project.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a strong signal, close to 1420.40575 megahertz, which is the hydrogen line used in radio astronomy.
SETI at home was monitoring that for 20 years.
Yeah, you're very familiar with the hydrogen line.
Yeah.
Astronomers have tried to figure out, well, what would cause this WOW signal naturally?
Mm-hmm.
And the closest they could say would be required an energy blast from a neutron star called a magnetron would put out a pulse that might be able to reach our atmosphere a lot at that time, which is a fairly rare phenomenon in space. To have it aimed at the Earth seems kind of weird, but, there's a lot of weird things in the universe, and it could happen, right? I mean, who knows? But when he calculated this trajectory of 3I Atlas, where it was in 1977 when we first got this signal, it's in the same area of the sky as where the WOW signal came from.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly the same location from that direction. It was 800 AUs out from Earth back in 1977, quite a distance from here. 800 AUs, in terms of the speed of light, is about 3 days. So it would be a signal from there that in 1977, that was 3 days when it sent out the signal towards our solar system. And the nature of that signal, what was it? Was it a ping of some sort, like our radars or sonars would do? And if it was an intelligent ping, would more information be obtained from our system from such a moment? Well, okay, if we thought it was a magnestar, what if we could create a radio blast ourselves? Like, what if we used our technology for creating a frequency blast on the 1420.4556 megahertz? What would it take to replicate that? And he did the calculations and found that it would take, it's something we could do, but it would require the power of a typical nuclear reactor to create a signal of that magnitude. And that's pretty cool. That means that it would be a ship that had a nuclear reactor on board that could put out a very strong radio signal, 1420.4556 megahertz, well within the capacity of our understanding of how to do radio transmissions, but it would take a nuclear reactor to power something like that. Is this a coincidence? It's coming from the same direction as the WOW signal of 77? The actual object, it's taken all these years to get here from that signal? If so, if it is intelligent, then we should maybe start thinking about how do we communicate with it? Do we send an electromagnetic signal ourselves and see if it responds? Of course, there is the danger that what they call the black swan event, where we contacted it and it's not a good thing. Mm-hmm. That it brings in some bad juju for us.
Yeah, like the movie Mars Attacks.
Oh, humans. They could be useful. It's a very interesting article. We have a links on our links page to his speculation about all this, not just about the coincidence of the signal and the technology and the technical details of its location and such, but also some speculation as to how we might communicate with this object. Should it prove itself to be
communicative,
or should we even see if it could? So there was that. On a more, since we're a talk radio show host and we really aren't scientists or
we are storytellers, story collectors, and skeptics.
Yeah, and since we have
and true believers,
no true credibility in that department, we can say anything we want. With that in mind, I asked Grok about whether or not there were any thoughts from the psychics in the medium universe and the remote viewers about 3i Atlas.
Oh, there you go. That's always
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did the woo part of society have to say about it?
Well, there's several remote viewers associated with this, extrasensory practice groups like Edgar Casey type.
Yeah,
people.
start with Edgar
And-
Casey. I heard that he made a forecast that October 29th, there's going to be a line in the sky that is a threat to our planet or some such thing. At least that's what one astrologer was saying.
Well, I don't have anything specifically on Edgar Casey perspective, but there is a group called the Polish Institute of Remote Viewing.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a group session on this in August. They had 6 of their experienced remote viewers conduct a blind session using coordinates to avoid bias to probe the nature of 3i Atlas. They were inspired by all these debates by Avi Loeb and others about possible artificial origins.
Mhm.
So they wanted to remote view it and see what they could find out about its structure, and whether or not that had any intent or there's any intelligence behind it.
Mhm.
And these remote viewers had no strong consensus on artificial elements. Only one of the viewers mentioned potential life forms or detection of intelligence, while the others saw it as a rock-like thing.
Mhm.
But they described physical details like the gas around it and the dust and its rocky exterior and its features. They largely concluded that it was not a craft or a probe.
It's a comet.
So they thought it was an interstellar wanderer, possibly maybe even some ancient cosmic debris, rather than something engineered. So there was that. That was from the Polish group.
Mm-hmm.
And there was another remote viewer collective of 6 viewers, 6 seasoned remote viewers, looking at it visually, acoustically, and emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
Their insights was that it was sort of spherical and has geometric linear components, and there were colors of blue, white, and green, and textures that involved metallic and porcelain textures. And they said there's a part of it that was kind of slimy, like a gel-like thing. It was self-propelling. It had some kind of kinetic torsion energy. It was spinning and had some kind of advanced tech for cloaking itself. And one person picked up it as being an interstellar warp drive. Of course, that would go with the nuclear reactor, I guess.
Yeah,
like that.
Sure.
In terms of probing for intelligence, they said on board was a hybrid biological artificial intelligence, non-human, robotic, or AI. Some of the viewers picked up a reptilian humanoid element.
So this is all right out of Foundation series, right?
Yeah, right.
We've got an interstellar traveler who's been, en route for hundreds of thousands of years.
Yes. Yeah. These reptilians perceived us as meat sacks and resources from an experiment that's been going on for a while and that they've been controlling and studying us.
Oh,
So
I
we'll
see.
how the meat sack experiment
So they're
is
just
going
coming
on.
to check out their terrarium experiment, us?
Yeah.
Okay.
They come to harvest.
Well, there's the serve man kind of story for sure. Reaping the harvest, right. And of course, in order to do that, they have to be really good at mind manipulation.
Right. Have to convince us that we don't see what we see.
Yes. An invisible
You have a superior AI.
Yeah, superior, obviously, to us. And our only defense is our own AIs get evolved enough to be able to
Well, we
counteract
know
this.
that this interstellar object is billions of years older than our sun.
Well, they say it hides as a rock until it's activated.
Oh, I see. They're just projecting a fake image of a rock, huh?
Yes, and
nothing to see here.
Well, implying camouflage. Well, look, when a real comet was hit by a solar blast, it
acted like a
glowed and
comet.
blew away.
Yeah.
Here, it just stayed going. Like it was maybe the blast is just some kind of holographic projection.
Sure. Yeah, they're just
Projection,
showing us a movie of what they want us to see.
Exactly. Yeah, 3D movie.
Right.
What would we know?
Yeah.
Especially
It probably just recharged its batteries.
Yeah, that's it.
Get close to the sun. Right. Leave us alone as we recharge our batteries. But if it's a nuclear reactor, do they really need to do that? I don't know.
Well, maybe our sun was actually sending out a CME probe to test whether this object was a comet or not.
Yeah.
Maybe it was suspicious. Our local star has kind of seen these interstellar objects before, and it doesn't want it to mess with our stability.
Yeah, is that why it threw a solar flare at it?
Yeah. It wanted to pierce the veil of whatever the illusion was.
So
it
now our
sent
star
out.
knows the truth.
Our star knows that it's not an ordinary comet.
Yeah,
it's an extraordinary comet.
Would our star be defensive of its space?
Well, I suppose we'd have to know what our star knows and thinks about it, right?
Yeah.
Has our star encountered this form of interstellar object before? Did it have positive results or negative results, or is it a first? Who knows?
Are there any remote viewers that talk to stars?
I wonder. That's a good question.
But, when this asteroid comet 3I Atlas was coming toward us, its tail was pointed toward the sun, which was quite unusual. We've never seen that
the
before.
opposite, right?
Well, it's kind of like when a Falcon rocket is pointing its jets towards the Earth. It's like controlling its motion in the direction that it's traveling.
It's probably charged electromagnetically opposite of the sun. And so that's why the tail was pointing toward the sun. It was attracted to it. And so that's why the sun allows its coronal mass ejection to be pointed toward it, because it's of a different polarity, an opposite polarity. And so there's this attraction.
Oh, like lightning goes to the lowest ground or something, huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's why the tail was pointing toward the sun, and the sun is sending out these ejecta material toward it.
Huh.
In that direction, particularly.
Oh. And you think it's the nature of the plasma beam that's attracting the CME?
Yeah. A lot of people say that there are these channels of energy that comes from the center of the galaxy that actually go and directly connect to all the stars in the galaxy, like a ray of light or a ray of energy. This thing came from the center of our galaxy, and it's actually twice as old as any material on our solar system. Like all our material in our solar system came from material that was 3 billion years old. And they are saying this thing is 7 billion years old.
Beyond our solar system structurally. No matter what, even if it's just a rock, it's still rock we haven't seen.
Yeah, it's older rock from probably when the Milky Way was formed. It was formed by collisions of several different galaxies. What's at the center of our galaxy is much older, and we probably came in from the side and made the arms of the galaxy. We're in the Sagittarius arm. We're actually made of material of another smaller galaxy that was younger than, say, the center of our galaxies is made of. So it's completely different material. It's 7 billion years old. So
that's right.
Crazy old.
There are a lot of individual remote viewers that are reporting scattered sessions you can see on Reddit. They vary from some kind of alien in an arm or exoskeleton structure coming towards us, the return of the Anunnaki to check up on us. Some see it as a metallic structure with steps and steam coming from it. Steam engine? Well, steam from the nuclear reactor, I guess. Others are seeing it as origins from a black hole with fire and gas. Some are thinking that we should be looking for data coming from it. How do we communicate with this thing? What should we do? Should we let it know we're paying attention, or should we just let it say, we're not the droids it's looking for?
Yeah, probably we should say that.
Leave us alone. We had nothing going on here. We're just a bunch of crazy monkeys. Just don't worry about us. We'll be fine.
Unless you're playing some good dance music, steer clear.
I find there's other, not remote viewers. These people are channelers, which are completely different
Channeling
type of
as opposed to remote viewing. There's a lot of
So what they're seeing is they're hearing this word that's coming through them. They're channeling. It's called convoy. They're seeing this thing called convoy. Like, it's not just one object. It's a whole collection of spacecrafts or something, or whatever entities surrounding this 3I Atlas. And it's in a cluster. So it's not just one
there's
solid
3I
ball.
Atlas? Yeah, it's like Battlestar Galactica, or the collection of ships in close formation with each other.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. These are channelers, not remote viewers.
Are they picking up channels of information from there?
Well, they're channeling entities from, let's say, Palladians or Octurians, whoever they're channeling.
Yeah.
But they're saying their intelligence is sensing this object and saying this thing has some intelligence. They're saying that when we get close to it again, when we come around the sun,
right,
we could see spacecraft visible in our skies, is what they're alluding to. And these spacecraft right now, in the past, they're operating at a higher frequency. And so it's like you need ultraviolet or X-ray eyes to see them because they're vibrating at a different frequency than we are. So we can't visibly see them. They have this cloaking mechanism.
Cloaking device, yeah. A number of people mentioned that.
But then they're saying, 3i, they're saying this is the third eye opening up.
The third eye, yeah, okay.
But except for 3i stands for third interstellar object.
Right, third.
Yes, but there is
nice
this connection about
third
the
eye.
third eye here. That's what they're picking up.
Yeah.
And they're saying that some people, there's going to be a portal opening, and people that are ready and are vibrating at a higher frequency will be able to see these objects, while other people won't be able to see them because they're not vibrating at that level.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that because Avi posted another story called What is the Nature of 3i Atlas? And in that, he talked about how most scientists don't want to even consider looking at a lot of the information that considers it might be intelligent.
Contact.
Yeah. It's a self-imposed ignorance, he says, by the refusal to be open-minded. And he thinks our scientists need to be rewarded for challenging the orthodoxy rather than just supporting it, to really pay more attention to the anomalies instead of insisting that it's just a comet. Because as soon as you say it's just a comet, that's what you're going to mostly focus on proving. So your attitude as an investigator is critical. And I would say that's probably true for the remote viewers as well, that their preconceptions can definitely affect the results.
Sure. Well, that's how third eye stuff works. It's interface with your internal universe.
Yeah.
And the science that everybody externally uses to validate what we observe with our senses is another realm.
Yeah. So October 3rd, that's the big breakthrough here. That's when we'll find out some real hardcore data about how big it is especially, and whether or not it's starting to show any anomalous behavior that might reveal itself to be more than just an inert rock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's when it gets closest to Mars. And then after that, it gets close to Venus.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, the Japanese satellite is out of commission.
Yeah.
But it could have picked up something.
Oh, but we have the Parker probe there. We do have probes in the inner
Yeah, we've got
system.
one close to the sun.
Yeah.
And then when we come around the sun and we can see it again, it's going to be close to Jupiter and very close, closer to Jupiter than any of these other planets. And so Juno, well, the satellites that we have around Jupiter will be pointed toward it, and they will be able to see some incredible things too, even closer than the Mars.
Well, that's when it's
satellite.
collected data on Mars, on Earth, on Venus, and Mercury, and our sun, and then it's heading out with the data. That's when we should hit it with the particle system to erase its memory so it doesn't tattle on us and give us away. It's masters.
That's like sending a pea shooter at
1420
at a tank
megahertz.
or
Block
something.
that frequency. Yeah. Anyway, it's something fun to
So-
watch and keep an eye open. You'll hear more stories on this October 3rd.
All right.
Yeah. There was an interesting article about why fire actually might be the rarest natural phenomenon in the entire cosmos.
Mm-hmm.
That fire is such a big part of our story as humans and how we evolved, and Promethean stories, and we figured that we've had it for at least 250,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently it's pretty rare out there in the universe. It's not just that the Earth is the only place we've actually seen it. It's just that it might not actually exist out there. It's a no-show. It's not on Venus. It's not on Jupiter, even with the volcanic moon of Io, or it's not anywhere. We're beginning to think that fire is actually a fragile chemical phenomena that has this cosmic Goldilocks setup. We just happen to get the recipe right here. The triangle of fire, the oxygen, the heat, and the fuel that are necessary for combustion to occur. Those three things are not that common when we go out there in the universe.
You need an atmosphere that has 20% oxygen to burn. It needs oxygen to make the fire.
That's right, yeah.
And it has to be the right ratio. So that's why we don't see fire on any of the planets in our solar system.
Yeah. So maybe we should look for planets that do have fire, and that'll help us find, maybe something that's alive besides just the chemicals. It's interesting. Anyway, I thought I'd push that on to you guys. And thank you, Bobby, for being part of the show today. Thank you, Mrs. Future, for all your help and persevering through.
Always fun to speculate about the future with y'all.
Thank you to our fans.
Have a great future now, everybody. I'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Love you all.